Hello everybody, Eric again. Like and subscribe. Here we go. Let's read about F is for Fugitive. F is for Fugitive is the sixth novel in Sue Grafton's alphabet series of mystery novels and features Kinsey Mahone, a private eye based in Santa Teresa, California. Plot summary. Henry Pitt is having Kenzie's garage apartment rebuilt after it was destroyed in the events of the previous novel. Royce Fuller wants the detective to exonerate his son of the murder of Jean Timberlake 17 years before in Florida Beach, California. Bailey Fuller pleaded guilty to killing Jean, his sometime girlfriend, and escaped from prison soon afterwards. He has apparently been living the life of a model citizen under an assumed name. He is recaptured and is claiming his innocence. Kenzie heads to Florida Beach, a tiny local community, to pursue the cold trail as she stays with the Fuller family at their motel. Royce is dying of cancer. His wife, Oral Bell, is sick with diabetes, and their daughter Anne, Bailey Sr. by 5 years, has taken leave of absence from her job as a counselor at the local high school to provide care for her parents. Bailey's lawyer, Jack Clemson, fills her in on the details of the case. Jean, 17, when she died, was a problem child who was doing badly in school and engaged in numerous sexual encounters with the local boys at school and some of the local men as well. She was pregnant at the time of her death. Everyone knows everyone in Florida Beach, and Kenzie acquaints herself with a number of the locals in pursuit of the truth. Pearl, the local bar owner, whose son's evidence puts Bailey on the spot at the time of Jean's death. Tab Granger, who was Bailey's accomplice in several robberies before the murder. The local pastor, Severin Halls, and his wife, and Dr. Dunn, whose wife, Alva, has a violent objection to being questioned. The high school principal at the time of the murder, Dwight Scholes, offers some help. Attention is turned to Jean's single mother, Shayna, whose friendship with Dwight is causing prompted skepticism around Florida Beach. She is struggling with long-standing alcohol problems, is less cooperative, and refuses to identify Jean's father. Nobody seems convinced that the killer could be anyone but Bailey. At Bailey's arrangement, Tap Granger stages a holdup, allowing Bailey to escape once more. Tap is himself killed in the escape. Kenzie gets confirmation from Tap's widow that Tap was paid to do it, for the first time providing concrete evidence that someone wants to keep Bailey discredited. Someone breaks into Kenzie's motel room at the motel, and she receives threatening calls in the middle of the night as she pursues the case. Oral Bell is murdered following the adulteration of her insulin medication that is administered regularly by Anne. Kenzie establishes that Dr. Dunn is Jean's unknown father. Shanna is murdered when she sets out to keep a rendezvous with him. Kenzie runs from the cops herself after she finds the body and seeks refuge with Dwight Scholes, who confesses that he, too, was having an affair with Jean and was probably the father of her child. Kenzie realizes that Anne Fuller is jealous of anyone who comes into contact with Dwight. She searches Anne's room and finds evidence that Anne supplied Tap with the hold-up gun and made the numerous phone calls. Unfortunately, she also finds Anne waiting for her, armed with a shotgun. Jean had confided in her, as school counselor, that Dwight was the father of her child. Motivated by jealousy, Anne killed her, and being equally jealous of her brother's position as favorite child of their parents, and was happy to see him take the rap. Her plan is to use the money she will eventually inherit from her parents to tempt Dwight into marriage. She killed her mother to hasten the plan along. She also killed Shayna, Jean's mother, because she was jealous of her friendship with Dwight. Before Anne can kill Kenzie, she is interrupted by Royce, who wrestles the gun away from Anne, shooting her in the foot, accidentally in the process. Anne, injured, is arrested for the murders of Shayna and Oral Bell, though there is insufficient evidence to prove her to be Jean's killer. The circumstances are sufficient to ensure that Bailey is cleared of the murder. Characters: Kenzie Mahone, private detective called to Florida Beach to solve a case for an innocent man who has escaped from prison. Gene Timberlake, murdered teen girl whose murderer claims innocence. Royce Fuller, father of the accused murderer, who hires Kenzie Mahone to find the murderer of Gene Timberlake. He is dying of cancer. Orabelle Fuller, wife of Royce and mother of Bailey, who is disabled with diabetes. By diabetes, she is murdered during the investigation. Ann Fuller, first child of Royce and Orabelle. She took leave from her job as counselor at the local high school to care for her ailing parents. Bailey Fuller, accused murderer of Gene Timberlake, who has escaped from prison. Jack Clemson, attorney for Bailey Fuller. Dwight Schultz, principal of the local high school when Gene Timberlake was murdered. Tap Granger, friend and sometime accomplice to Bailey, who helps him escape prison again at Bailey's arrangement and is killed during the escape. His widow provides evidence that Tapp was paid to arrange the escape. Shayna Timberlake, mother of the murdered girl Jean. She will not identify Jean's father, as she suffers from alcohol problems. She is murdered during the investigation. Dr. Dunn, local area doctor, who Kenzie suspects is the father of the murdered girl Jean. Elva Dunn, wife of the local doctor, and difficult for Kenzie Mahone to question. Reviews. Kirkus Reviews called the novel a winner for Grafton, praising its plot, placing, characters, and the beings along with the development of Kenzie Mahone's character. Publishers Weekly gave a similar review, calling the plot complex, and noting the main character's continued development. The review said that Grafton's series promises to hold readers all the way to Z. Development of novel. Grafton had originally planned to call the novel F.S. Furgery, but decided during her research that Furgery was too boring a crime, shifting to a plot with fugitives from the law. Publication history. This is the first of her novels to appear on a bestseller list in paperback fiction. Bye for now.